We're celebrating a charitable Christmas in the Carolinas. Stay tuned. Carolina People's coming up next. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People, and Merry Christmas. This morning we're at Villa Romana Italian Restaurant in Myrtle Beach. We're focused on area charities, and we're visiting with the Reverend Bobby Wilkes, the minister at First Presbyterian Church in Myrtle Beach. Reverend Wilkes, great to be with you this morning.
Good to be here. Thank you.
Incredible.
Merry Christmas.
Yes, Merry Christmas to so many folks. I'm sure there are a heck of a lot of folks getting around in front of the tree right now or getting some breakfast stuff out. Maybe a lot of them aren't tuning into TV, but hopefully there's a couple of folks. Obviously, a lot of folks are up real early in the morning. TV gets on, whether it's actually on mute or not. It's still on, and hopefully the opportunity to share some Christmas experiences we can get out. Reverend Wilkes, are you originally from the area?
Grew up in this state in a town called Orangeburg, which is between Charleston and Columbia, and so I've always been in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm. Either in the Low Country or up in the Grand Strand?
Absolutely.
Do you have family in the area?
All my family's here right now, and my immediate family, my 3 sons, my wife, my brother still lives in Orangeburg, and my sister, who's a nurse, lives in Lexington, South Carolina.
Is that right?
Yeah.
South Carolina, did you go to school in South Carolina?
Went to Erskine College in Due West, South Carolina.
Oh, God. What part of the state is that, Father?
That's in the upper part of the state between Anderson and Greenwood.
And you, am I correct, you played some sports?
Went on a basketball scholarship to Erskine. Right.
Is that right? I think I've been told by somebody that you were a baseball star, but basketball is a particularly good...
Well, that paid my way to college. I played baseball in high school and American Legion baseball, and really enjoy all sports.
Oh, yeah, very definitely. When we think about the experiences of living on the Grand Strand, but at the same time having the opportunity to share a vision to folks outside of the Strand. Obviously, the bulk of our viewers are up in the PD and Robinson and Scotland County. I guess there's a First Presbyterian Church in most communities.
Yeah, it's the smaller one. The Baptist Church is the larger one, and then the Methodist Church. And then we're down the line somewhere, but we're always there.
Very definitely. In Myrtle Beach, First Presbyterian Church has been around a long time.
Since 1927.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And how long have you been its minister?
I moved here in 1983 from Georgetown, South Carolina.
Okay. Was there another First Pres there in Georgetown, or had you been there, or were you at another church?
The church there was a Georgetown Presbyterian Church, and there's another church, the Friendfield Church, which is right outside of Georgetown.
Right. Hope you don't mind, Reverend Wilkes, if I shift over to call you Bobby. I just, you've had that experience. I'm actually a member of First Presbyterian Myrtle Beach and grew up in a First Pres, and our minister at home's Joe, and so I hope you don't mind if I call you Bobby.
That's what I prefer.
I think you prefer it for the viewers as well. How does one go about, real quick, I want to shift over to the nativity scene in Christmas and your experiences of Christmas as well as First Pres, but how does one go about becoming a minister? How does that happen? If a viewer was, what would they need? I guess a calling first, but how does one go about doing that?
Well, I think, Greg, after the calling, your sense that God wants you to do that, then in our denomination, you get involved with a presbytery, which is a geographical judicial court, and you go under their care, and then you would go to a seminary. We have several in our denomination. The one I went to is in Atlanta, Georgia, Columbia Seminary. And that's a 3-year graduate school. And then following that, you take examinations in Bible and theology and church government. And you would be accepted by the denomination through that presbytery.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, and then you'd start you'd work your way up in a church. You just become a minister, or do you start in some type of service in a church first?
We all have different experiences. I went to a small church in Denmark, South Carolina, and was a solo minister there. And the people were very kind and put up with all of our mistakes in this learning process we have.
Mm-hmm.
And served there for 3 years, and then moved to Georgetown for 10 years, and then to Myrtle Beach in 1983.
And that's a great segue. 1983, almost 20 years of service here in Myrtle Beach. raising a family here in Myrtle, serving much larger family, the body of First Presbyterian Church. What about some of the changes in the community, both in Myrtle Beach as well as the First Presbyterian community?
Well, you know, the community certainly experienced enormous growth in those years. To me, the most amazing thing about Myrtle Beach is not what's changed, but what's remained constant, and that is this incredible group of men and women who worked so hard to make our churches great churches and our community a great community, and that's wonderful to see, this community spirit.
And that community spirit has really turned into supporting charities as well.
Oh, absolutely. Most of the charities I know about were started by some of our great citizens, and they got together, identified a need, and found a way to meet that need.
That's wonderful. Bobby, how does First Presbyterian Church work to support charities in our area, whether the Grand Strand or anywhere?
Well, primarily through two ways. Number one, through volunteers, men and women who are members of the church, youth who get involved as volunteers with the charities, whether it's Helping Hand or Friendship House or Associated Charity, CASA, just any number of them. And then we have a financial commitment we try to make each year to support the charities, to provide funds for them to do their work.
Right. And there are so many efforts to support as we... having Adrian Weatherwax coming on right after
from Helping Hand.
Next from Helping Hand, and her experiences, hopefully we'll hear about them in a few minutes, the opportunity to experience Myrtle Beach about the same amount of time as you have. I'm sure you've seen a heck of a lot of changes, but one thing, as you said, that's remained the same is that constant commitment to support the community. When we think about the best part of living in Myrtle Beach, Bobby, can you share with the viewers the best part of living in Myrtle Beach?
For Pat and me, Pat's my wife, it's just been a great community to raise a family. Our three boys grew up here. They attended the schools in Myrtle Beach, and it was just a wonderful place for them and for us. And
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Being able to raise three sons here. How about First Pres and some Christmas-type events that have been going on at First Presbyterian Church this time of the year?
Well, in addition to special worship services and all, we try to reach out to the community in need. We have a number of things going on. We have a big gathering for foster families, and that's always a lot of fun at the church. We have a program called Giving Back at Christmas, and that involves... our involvement with 200 families that members adopt for Christmas and provide Christmas gifts for. Our children get involved in this shoebox ministry, and they take on about 200 families, providing goodies for them. In addition to that, Greg, one of our big focuses at Christmas is to have a Christmas Eve offering to try to build a habitat house for a needy family in our community.
And First Pres has been a big Habitat for Humanity support.
Yeah, if things go well and our Christmas offering proves to be as strong as it's always been, we will build House 21 and 20 this next year.
You're kidding?
Yeah.
Son of a gun. And House 21 and 20. I had no idea it was that progressed. That's fantastic. When we think about year-round charities for First Pres, obviously we're talking Christmas. I guess Habitat for Humanity is a big one.
Yeah. Helping
Hand, as you said, is
absolutely.
a
Friendship House.
Friendship House.
Myrtle Beach Haven, we're involved in that. CASA, we're involved. We're involved in most of the helping organizations in Myrtle Beach with volunteers and with financial support.
And that helps tie into what we're doing here today. On Christmas Day, to think about sitting in front of a nativity scene. Ronaldo built this. We heard earlier in the week, Ronaldo built this nativity scene behind us. It's something that's meant a lot to him growing up in Rome, obviously being in a true holy city, or a holy city much akin to Myrtle Beach.
Yeah. There's
a lot of holy cities. I was talking to Ronaldo earlier this morning and thinking about gifts being given when the Magi were traveling over to Bethlehem and provided to Christ at that point. What kind of gifts could we give at this time of the year, or what would have been given? I mean, what would we provide to Christ at this time of the year?
Greg, that's a good question, and it's a question we've been dealing with in worship this year at Christmas. And what we're trying to focus on is that Christmas is really the birthday of Christ, and that our energies and our time and effort should be in giving things that would be given to Him or pleasing to Him. And so we've gone back to the Bible, which teaches, or which reminds us what Jesus said, when you do it unto one of the least of these, you're doing it unto me. And so we feel like the best gifts are those gifts when we reach out to the poor, to the needy, and to the weakest in our community and give something. And in that sense, we are truly giving it to Christ Himself. And I think that was the heart and core of Mother Teresa's ministry, that she was always saying to people, when you do it unto one of the least of these, you're doing it unto Christ Himself.
Very definitely. Very definitely. Kind of shell-shocked. I have difficulty thinking about anything else. We got a couple of minutes, and as I think about the Christmas season and so much activities that we've been doing leading up to today, decorating the house, buying gifts, cooking great meals, going to amazing church services like last night and other services. It seems like Christmas comes and then goes almost as fast as anything. Will Christmas be over after tonight? I mean, at the end of the day, how does Christmas go on?
Well, I think for all of us, one goal should be to let Christmas be a year-round deal, and to take the lessons of Christmas and to let them live in the everyday 365 days a year. The lessons of the Holy Family, to treat our family with that holiness, the gifts of the Magi, helping this family in need, and to do things like that carry on the lessons that Christmas teaches all of us.
Very definitely. And that would be the message you'd give this morning, Christmas morning, if there was a prime message that you'd give. It would be give Christmas year-round. You heard Reverend Bobby Wilkes say it. Make Christmas not only early December until December 25th, but make Christmas 365 a year. Bobby, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you. Enjoyed it. And Merry Christmas to you and yours.
Thank you, Bobby. Stay tuned for more Carolina People coming up next. Good morning. Welcome back to Carolina People, and Merry Christmas. Today we're at Villa Romana Italian Restaurant in Myrtle Beach. We're focused on area charities, and we're visiting with Adrian Weatherwax, the director of Helping Hand of Myrtle Beach. Good morning, Adrian. Thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Incredible opportunity to highlight Helping Hand, to highlight so many activities, but to be on Christmas Day, sitting in front of an nativity scene, following after Reverend Bobby Wilkes, just a great experience.
How appropriate.
Let's talk real quick about yourself. Are you originally from the area?
No, I'm not. We moved here in 1980 from upstate New York and have been here for 23 years almost.
When you say we moved here, it was more than it was you?
My husband and family.
Oh, great. Good. And you all have been here since
1980.
Golly. Have you been involved with Helping Hand since then?
I got involved with Helping Hand in about 1982 on a volunteer basis. We had a motel, and Helping Hand sometimes put people up for an evening or a week, and they would send them down to the motel, and we would see them kind of lay around by the pool for 3 or 4 days, and then the last 2 or 3 days of their stay, they would be out hustling around looking for a job. And I just finally got so frustrating seeing those dollars being spent to pay for people's vacations that I just marched into Helping Hand one day and said, why are you doing this? And, you know, if you went day by day or progress by progress, you might accomplish a little bit more. So consequently, I ended up volunteering there. And it gave me a great deal of satisfaction to be able to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, then it was small beans compared to, you know, what it is now.
I'm sure, and I want to hear about that. It's amazing. Did the folks at Helping Hand have an idea what the people who were sitting around by the pool for 5 days, did they have some aspect of that, or was this the first time that you helped them become aware of that?
I don't think they really knew, because when they would put somebody up, a family or a couple would go into Helping Hand with a hard luck story, and the people at Helping Hand would put them up for a week. Of course, in those days it wasn't as costly, as it is now. So they did not follow up on the progress. They had a week to either get a job and get yourself settled or move on to the next place. So no, they probably were not aware until I went in there to tell them what was going on. And I don't know if it made a whole lot of difference, because that was their policy. But in many cases it helped. In some cases they subsidized vacations. But, in those days it was not very often that it happened.
Right, and obviously helped you, the ability to recognize there was a need there, you wanted to get involved, even volunteering at a small level. I know activities with the Boy Scouts or with the Heart Association, we try to get somebody in just on something small.
Right.
They will then see so many other activities that they can get involved with, and hopefully will be encouraging themselves.
It gives you so much awareness on a different perspective, from a different point of view, looking at it, from that way.
Sure. Adrian, since '82, have you and or other family members been involved in other charities here in the area other than Helping Hand?
My children went to St. Andrew's School, and I was involved when they were in St. Andrew's School. My husband was involved with the church functions as well.
Am I correct that you had some involvement at CASA for a while?
Well, that was as a volunteer.
Okay.
I did go to work there after I was volunteering at Helping Hand, but then the opportunity came up for a job at CASA, so I did take that job and started off as part-time and still did my 1 day a week at Helping Hand. However, that went to full-time, so I was not able to volunteer, and I worked at CASA for 6 years. And then the job that I have now became available, so I took the job at Helping Hand.
And how long have you been its executive director?
That was about 12 and a half years ago.
Golly.
It's been a while.
What time of the year was that? Was it, and what was it like in the early part, the early time when you were volunteering around Christmas time, around other holiday parts of the season?
Well, like I said, it was Helping Hand 20-some years ago was a small operation. It was only open part-time, and they had a sign that the motto was 2 sandwiches per lifetime. So, people that would come in there that were stranded, we'd make them 2 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, give them a bus ticket, and send them on their way. And pretty much that was the focus of Helping Hand. We didn't do a lot with the local people. At that time, there was no facility for the local people to get help except go to their own churches. And that is the basis for Helping Hand getting started, was the church's collaboration to form an agency that takes that load off the ministers, and that's how it evolved into what it is today.
And Helping Hand was formed in 1971.
That's correct.
I think incorporated later in the mid-'70s.
Yeah, it was formed in 1971 through the First Methodist Church. They put a little trailer somewhere down on 9th Avenue North that helped kids that came for the weekends during the summer. It was one of their outreach programs, and they would talk to the kids, and you know how easily college kids can get separated from their money, and then they'd make them some sandwiches and send them home on a bus, and it just evolved.
It went from the trailer to other locations?
It went from the trailer to a location, I don't remember what street it was, but where the Pavilion parking garage is now,
yeah.
There was a little building that was built by Burroughs, or by the I think it was Myrtle Beach Farms at that time. A little building that was built there behind a beauty shop that used to be there. And then we moved over to Oak Street across from the police station. And now for the last 4 years, we're in our permanent location on 10th Avenue in the Elizabeth Chapin Patterson Community Assistance Center.
And are y'all the only agency there in the center?
No, we're not. The community kitchen is also in the center, as well as the community thrift shop. The kitchen serves a hot lunch 5 days a week, every weekday but Christmas Day, for free from 11:30 to 12:30 to anybody that walks in. And many days there's well over 100 people that come in there for lunch. Homeless people, working people, whoever. There's no question. They just go in and have lunch. And also the community thrift shop is in that building, and the funds from the thrift shop help to maintain the building. And it has not done any profit this year because of the construction there on 10th Avenue North. But they help to maintain the building and pay the mortgage, and when the bills are met, funds from the thrift shop will be divided between Helping Hand and the community kitchen.
talk about volunteers with Helping Hand. Obviously, there must be a heck of a lot of volunteers. When you talk about 100 folks coming in, you're not the only one making them peanut butter sandwiches or serving
No,
many
well,
other
we have stopped with the peanut butter sandwiches since the kitchen opened, but we have a core of about 25 volunteers. We have just 2 part-time people that work at Helping Hand. We overlap shifts, so we have a total of maybe 52 hours a week in staff time. But we have 3 volunteers every day for 2.5 to 3 hours because we can't be there by ourselves. So we have a regular schedule for our volunteers, and like I said, there's about 25 of them that act as receptionists, fill out an interview form, kind of weed out what the client needs before we see them. And then Renee Billington, who is the associate director, either Renee sees them or I see them and either do what they ask, or if we can't do it, we try to send them someplace that can.
And Adrian, what are some examples of assistance that Helping Hand provides?
Okay. We're a crisis intervention agency, so we deal with all kinds of crises, and everybody has their own little personal crisis. It may be food, it may be rental assistance, it might be utilities, it might be a bus ticket home, it might be a local bus ticket, prescription medications. We also do specialized things like if a man comes in and says, if I can get a haircut, this man will hire me. So we'll send him to a barber shop. A lot of different things, and fortunately we have the discretion to make those decisions. I mean, we have limits on what we can do in terms of rent and utilities, but the other things, just, by having met with a client, we interview them, and we have the discretion to do a few extra things if we see to need to.
Where does your primary funding come from, Adrian?
United Way of Horry County is a major contributor. The Chapin Foundation helps out, and then there are 8 local churches that are sponsors, supporters, and representatives from each of those 8 churches make up our board.
Do you ever hold separate fundraisers, or are there ever activities year-round?
We have one golf tournament a year, and this year will be our 16th golf tournament. That is really the only fundraiser that Helping Hand has. We do participate in a pancake breakfast that raises funds for the entire building, and this will be the 4th one coming up in February.
Right, February 16th, I think I saw.
That's correct. February 16th we'll have our 4th annual pancake breakfast, and that fundraiser will raise funds for both the Community Kitchen and Helping Hand. But our golf tournament is our major fundraiser, and then, of course, we accept donations as well.
If someone wanted to donate their time or their resources to Helping Hand, who would they contact? And
they could contact our office or come by, at 1411 10th Avenue North. We're in the Elizabeth Chapin Patterson Community Assistance Center.
Right. And what's that number? And they'd want to ask for you, or?
They could ask for me. They could ask for Renee. That number is 448-8451.
Okay, 448-8451. When you think about this time of the year, I'm sure with all your being involved with Helping Hand for almost 20 years now, either as
Gosh, that sounds like so much.
As we put those numbers together, but surely having been down here since '82 and seeing that with the motel, the folks in there, and seeing some needs that really need to be met. When you think about Christmas experiences over that almost 20 years of either being directly involved or indirectly involved, are there some memories that stick out in your mind of really helping Hands outreach then?
Yeah, there are some people that come back after, when they get their stuff together, and they come back and say, you helped me do this, or you helped me accomplish this goal, or they'll come back and bring something back, or once in a while we'll have somebody come in and say, here's $10, you helped me, and now I'd like you to help somebody else. That to me is what makes it worthwhile. It doesn't happen too often, but it doesn't take it to happen too often to make it worthwhile.
I'm sure, Adrian, that must be so amazing. When you think about that being what makes it so worthwhile, is that the best part? The best part of being active?
Yes, it's the best part of knowing that you can help somebody, or thinking that you can help somebody, and hoping that you're helping more than you're aware of, because there's always a population that doesn't come back. But when we don't see them again, we assume that we've helped them, and they might need just a little bit of help one time. A lot of local people, this time of year especially, it's Christmas for the children or pay the electric bill. So if we help them with the electric bill and we keep a record, we know if they're abusing our services or if we're helping them one time and we're really helping them. And that enables them to not disrupt their families, not disrupt their children's Christmas.
You heard Adrian Weatherwax say it. It's the experience of being there and a helping hand at all parts of the year, not only Christmas Day, 365 days a year, 10th Avenue North in Myrtle Beach. Come by to visit if you can volunteer time or resources. Adrian, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you very much.
Stay tuned for more Carolina People coming up next. From the staff of Fox 43, Lucky Dog Television, and Villa Romana Italian Restaurant, we want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas.